So if I'm doing this in the intro, you know what it means.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm in a different window and have no idea what he just did.
Uh-huh. Sure. You cannot unsee what you have saw.
Which is why I'm in a different window right now.
Why you're in a different window. All right. Well, come on. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. Copy link. Everything is going so slowly.
Hey, Durham, what you might want to do, Durham, is if you run into trouble, you might just want to talk to Brian since he uses Skype all the time. He also uses XSplit.
I have that, but it's not. It doesn't work for Mac. It'll work on my laptop.
It's not available for Mac. I know. Okay. I use XSplit for work.
Okay. Well, I just think what you might want to do is if you have to make a list of what you're running into as issues. He might know a solution around that.
The one thing I'm trying to figure out is why you're having so much problem here. You use Skype on your other show all the time.
But the last 2 weeks, I've had to cut the video because my audio has been crapping out. But I thought that was due to the amount of people we were trying to support over a Skype connection.
Well, that shows that's not it.
But again, I'm out in the sticks. So even with my recent
Copy link.
My recent increase in data speed, it's still not that much.
Right.
But basically, one of the ladies because we're not streaming, right?
We are streaming live. Yes.
Okay, we are live now. Okay.
We are live, but we haven't done the intro yet. So.
Okay.
Well, thanks
this
for
is
letting us know.
well. I did say.
I didn't check my zipper or anything. Hello.
This consider this the pre-show.
Okay,
but
I'm going to mute now.
By the way, for anyone that wants to know what we do right before the show,
this is it. This is it. It's a whole new world. A whole new world.
A new fantastic point of view.
All right, guys. It's time to begin. Let's mute.
I got 6 bullets. All right. Just remember that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of TFYLP, episode number 217, recorded September 17th, 2016. I am your host, Ron Land, a.k.a. Weird Wolf, and people keeps messaging me out of the blue. I forgot to mute my phone. Gee, thanks. Also with me today is Megamus.
Hello.
Headmaster Don.
Hey, everybody.
And Plasticon.
Hey guys, G2 still follows you everywhere you go.
But you don't love Georgia anymore, so...
Oh, well, I had to relocate for like a couple minutes. No big deal. We'll be back to that.
Welcome to the all new, all different, here we go again, TFYLP.
Yeah. Well, we're if you haven't noticed, we're a little bit, we look a little bit different tonight. We're not using Google+. We are on Skype. We're trying out a new way of broadcasting, a new way of doing things. We've done this before, and hopefully the video and audio is coming through very well. We did a test about a week ago, and it seemed to work pretty well. Hopefully got it tweaked to where the video and audio is really good. But tonight we're going to talk about open forum discussion. What do you want us to talk about? whatever you suggest to us or whatever comes to our mind, we're going to talk a little bit about it. Haven't had a whole lot of time, to be honest, to prepare for this week's episode. I've been working at a new job, trying to learn that, and it's just been crazy. But I'm sure we can find plenty to talk about tonight.
Yeah, well, and that's good news for you because if anything you've been wanting to, ask us or have us discuss within reason, just let us know. I mean, we got some ideas we want to talk about, but is anything out there you want us to talk about? Characters you want, shows you like, Transformer related? Hit us up on on Twitter at TFYLP.
Absolutely.
On our Facebook fan page, Seth Moore, Signal Flare, Telegraph. I'm sure I got Telegraph.
Smoke signals, yeah. Just pretty much any of the above will generally work. Like you said, I'm watching the Twitter feed at TFYLP. We also have our Facebook group. The current episode is pinned to the top of the Facebook group, so you can comment in there what you like us to talk about. And we're also on YouTube. I've got the YouTube thing popped up here. We got a few people in there. I want to say hello to Techatron and 26 Manuel. Let's see here. It says Don's mic is a bit low. So Don, please take the mic out of your crotch and place it on your head.
Okay, that was a low blow.
Literally low.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
You said it.
That was not.
Just remember, Daron, when you do these open forums, you never know what we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. And it's just one of those things that that came up right before the show come up, and I thought, hey, this is a really good idea. We haven't had a hodgepodge episode before. We got some ideas streaming about on us, so we will go right into those. One of the first ones that came up on Twitter, let's see here, let's see here, hold on. Yeah, at KidFlashDBN, Tommy Brevard, he asks, what other fandoms do you belong to? As Transformer fans, I mean, that's first and foremost what I do. I'd say fandoms that I'm a part of, Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I love pretty much everything Star Trek. I don't collect a lot of Star Trek stuff, but I have nearly every episode that's ever aired on television. So that's
including Enterprise, folks. So you know he's serious.
Yes, it has been it's been a long time, getting from there to here and all that stuff. So, what about you, Magnus?
Well, I'm a member of I was in a porno movie, and I get a huge amount of email from that and fan mail, so that keeps me pretty busy.
Wait.
So they're asking for refunds then?
Well, no, that's not yours. That's not yours. Just guest appearances, mostly from the waist down. Stuff like that.
So, is your name online? Is it actually Dirk?
It's on there.
Let's see here. Let's see what's going on Facebook here.
Well, as far as myself, I'll go ahead and go while Duron's checking that. I'm not in a lot of other fandoms just because of lack of time, because being on two Transformers podcast takes up a lot of time. But I am a fan of other things. Everyone knows I'm a big Visionaries fan. Of course, I love Transformers. I like
big butts, and you cannot lie.
I don't even bother looking anymore. No. I've recently started. Of course, I like all things Transformers except for Beast Machines and Energon. They're at the bottom of the list. But I've recently started watching some other shows. I'm started watching a new series called Miraculous Ladybug, which is really fun. I enjoy that. Definitely for the younger set, I know that, but it's got a lot of charm, got a lot of heart. It's fun. There's that. big in third party, as everyone knows, which we're talking about later on as one of our topics. Uh, I'm Ghostbusters fan. I'm not in the fandoms, but there's things I'm a fan of. Big fan of Marvel comics. Of course, I don't read as much as I did because most of my characters have been killed, or you know, I like the eclectic characters: Thunderstrike, New Warriors, Quasar, Power Pack, Brute Force. Let's go with the C and D listers there, shall we? Uh, like Sailor Moon, big fan of Sailor Moon. Recently got back into Gundam with Field Fighters, trying to avoid going down the Gundam rabbit hole because it's just so extensive and there's too much pretty stuff that costs a whole lot of money. So just sticking with Build Fighters for the overall flavor of the series without all the drama. Big Kamen Rider fan, Tokusatsu fan with Super Sentai. Not so much a Power Ranger fan, just because I sort of grew out of it. I was mainly collecting the Zords mostly, but I am really enjoying Dino Charge. Really good season, strong season after the last 3 crappy ones. So that's me.
What about you, Plasticon?
Well, everybody knows that I'm like the G2 nut, but I'm really into Godzilla. A lot like Sideburn. Me and him are really into Godzilla, and Godzilla is like one of those things. I like monster movies in general. I do like a lot of horror movies as well, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, stuff like that. A lot of the old classics. Obviously, everybody knows I'm primarily a film guy, so I'm really into a lot of different kinds of films. But Star Wars, obviously, is one of those things that everybody's into. But I'm really into Voltron. I love Voltron. Voltron's probably one of my favorite toy lines that ever came out, and it was also some of the coolest things came from Voltron to me. I really like the animation style as well. I don't know if any of you guys have watched the new Netflix Voltron yet, but it's pretty good.
Watch the entire series. It's awesome.
Yes, you've seen the whole thing. Yeah, it's very excellent, very well done. I do like a lot of the new story arc they're using there, and the way they changed Pidge from being a little whiny kid into somebody a little more stronger type of character. Primarily, like I said, just that Godzilla is probably my biggest thing outside of Transformers.
Well, I got a Godzilla question for you then. Okay. Where on your scale of Godzilla of awesomeness does the 1977 Hanna-Barbera Godzilla fall? Because that will determine our friendship.
1977.
Hanna-Barbera Godzilla.
I would actually have to admit that's probably pretty up there, mainly because it's something I grew up watching when I was a kid. I grew up watching it, so a lot of people thought it was like cheesy and funny. I loved it. I just being a kid. It's up there. There's a lot of people that hate it, but I think it's great. I love that cartoon.
I keep hoping we'll get a Monster Arts 77 Hanna-Barbera Godzilla with a little calico he can carry around in his hand.
I think it would be hilarious. I mean, seriously, if a third party wants to do something cool, do that. That would just be awesome. I would love to see that.
And on Voltron, Lion Force or Vehicle?
Vehicle Force.
Yes.
I love Daruger. Daruger, I think, is so underrated. Lion Force gets so much.
I'm so oversaturated on Lion Force. I want more Vehicle Forward. I want more Vehicle Team.
I'm a Lion Force guy, so.
Thank you.
So you guys,
10 times better.
Amateurs.
10 times better.
Okay, Plasticon, I got a.
Okay, here's a good question: Machine Robo or GoBots?
GoBots.
Say it again.
Toys or shows? Toys or shows?
Show.
GoBots?
The show.
Machine Robo. More mature.
Yeah. If for show, Machine Robo, but for toys, I gotta go with GoBots because you got so many great names. Well, like for example,
yes.
I keep him here on my desk because you never know when you're going to need a good tux.
I'm not worried about that. I just love stacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Jeeper Creeper, man. What do you?
And of course, one of my personal favorites. Here he is.
Or you could just go Spacey.
I do have to say.
Man of War.
Space.
freaking battleship that we never got in
They came out with
Transformers.
some great women out. They came out with some great names, but the Machine Robo, when they recolored and they came out with some different ones, I mean, some of those are pretty sweet, and the show was good, was really good.
Well, there was a lot of Machine Robo ones that came out that never hit the U.S. Like, you know, you had the Saturn V rocket. That didn't hit the U.S. You had jumbo aircraft. Didn't hit the U.S. You also had the so-called, the successful Duocon.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the names of them, but you got the Black Hawk, you've got the little Mini Cooper. I mean, those never made it over, and those are nice, really nice.
Yeah, but at least we are getting something of a resurgence.
I love those. I love this. Yeah. I bought every one of those.
Battle Robot, he was my first because there's a few third-party things that I'm getting. Just basically for cost concerns, I gotta put these on the back burner for now. But I did get Battle Robo, and I really do like it.
I've got the Eagle Robo. He's nice, and I've got Bike Robo. He's in stock now, and I need to pick him up.
Yeah,
the one thing I want
the first three that came out, and I'm waiting on the fourth one.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to see is a third party do the GoBot energy blasts and like little clip on.
That would be a perfect thing for a zine render form to do, because that's right down his alley.
And a Leader 1 accurate head for Eagle Robo.
Well, with repro labels, Toy Hacks coming out with all these faction emblems and stuff like that for GoBots, do you think we're going to see a real big resurgence of maybe a third party jumping in and maybe giving us maybe a masterpiece version of Puzzler?
You know, that's what I would like to see a lot of the third parties do. Are these, and this was one of the topics we talked about tonight as part of the hodgepodge, was lines that are not really Transformers, but stuff we would like to see third parties tackle that are still transforming robots. And GoBots, you know, Puzzler was one of them. I would like to see like a Masterpiece Tux. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a robot with a top hat. I would love to see a Masterpiece version of Tux. That would just be really, really cool.
Yeah, I agree with Chris Doherty on YouTube. He commented that Tux is the man, but don't forget the SR-71 Blackbird. That would be Snoop, I believe. Yeah. I can't wait till that one comes out.
Yeah, she's coming out in the Machine Robo line. But you know, I like Vanguard. He would do as a good masterpiece. Smallfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Another potentially good masterpiece. Here's one that
Scooter would actually be a really good one, considering he was fairly.
Why are we not mentioning Crasher?
Well, I was. But here's something.
Because we know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Here's one of my favorites, Stinger. Mm-hmm. You do this in a masterpiece scale with this transformation. You wouldn't even have to fudge a transformation. This thing is so good. It's so interesting. Car collectors would love it in the right kind of scale, just for the look of the car mode. Robot collectors would love it. I mean, I'm gonna transform it right now, here on screen,
or off screen, and then hold it up.
Screen.
Well, I'm doing it.
Here's on screen.
No, I can't do it that way, but I'm doing it this way. So there. Hey, that's gonna be what, less than 30 seconds, and you get a really great looking. Now he does have car panel hands, you know, that would kind of need to be fixed a little bit, but I mean that would make a great looking masterpiece, or even in this battle Robo line scale, whatever you would call that, the 5-inch scale, maybe a 6-inch scale, I'm not sure, but you know, something like that would be good. Heat Seeker.
Oh yeah, Heat Seeker would be a perfect one. But what would you guys think about a masterpiece version of the powered suits that they actually go in?
No, I thought that was a horrible idea.
Well, I figured when these were announced in this line, I figured we would see third-party battle suits for them, and a jet that can either have its own robot mode or as a torso, along the lines of Silverbolt. So if you didn't want the power suits, but you liked the jet itself, you could always get that. But then you could buy the power suits and then make your Courageous or Grungy, or the third tank one that we never got in the U.S. either.
Right. I think it'd be interesting to see that. I mean, if if the engineering was done correctly. I mean, if you look at the original engineering, it was just, everything that they kind of hung out the side of it, and they didn't really fit in very well, But if they actually made them so they fashioned around more, especially since you have toy engineering that's better now.
There we go.
Yes.
That is a sick. Yeah.
That's a sexy lady right there.
Yes. And the one or two times she was in the show, she was extremely competent for a renegade. So.
And then some neater ones that no one missed.
Apollo.
I mentioned the Saturn V rocket. That's it.
Yeah. I've always wanted the Air Japan jumbo jet one, but I never see them anywhere. I never see them anywhere. Yeah. I saw one broke on eBay for almost $200.
A broke one?
Yeah.
Well, see, the front part of the plane lifts up on a hinge, and the hinge was broke where it connects at the back. So the robot itself was still mostly okay. It's just that front part was messed up, but it was still almost $200.
Oh yeah, I mean they go for.
Wasn't that thing given to kids whenever they got on the airlines over there? Wasn't that like a giveaway at the time?
It was a giveaway on one or two flights of Air Japan that one day or two, and that was it.
And then my favorite, because it's so funny looking.
The Mini Cooper.
I've always wanted that one, and I just can't.
I didn't know they made one of those.
Yeah, it's had rubber wheels, and the funny part is on his arms. See it?
British flag.
A little British flag on there.
Mm-hmm.
On there.
The last time I saw one go for like 175 loose and slightly yellowed.
Yeah,
So.
I grabbed these, but there's actually others that go for even more, and they're actually recolors of like Turbo and some of the others. There's like a few of Leader 1 colors that just I can't find. They're outrageously priced.
There's a red one. I know that. And there's a blue one. I thought I saw a green one, but I'm not absolutely sure on that one.
So just as anybody that thinks Machine Robo and GoBots are crappy toys, you need to handle some of them because there's some really great engineering in these toys.
I tell you, just these two right here, the engineering on
now
these two is enough to let you know that they're magnificent. They really were, and for the time, in my opinion, they did downscale them in size, but I think they were better than Transformers as far as articulation and the die cast and all that. I mean,
for $5 you can get a Throttle Bot, or you can get Vanguard.
Yeah.
And Vanguard is much more interesting to me than a Throttle Bot. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's...
I got a question. Since Hasbro actually owns the rights to GoBots now, since they bought Tonka, does that give them the authority to actually do? I mean, I know they did Fracture, which was an homage to Crasher, but
yeah,
I wonder if they can do that.
I can answer this, and they can't. Hasbro through the acquisition of Tonka owns the rights to the name, but Bandai still owns the likenesses. So that they could use, like, that's why I keep saying from Robots in Disguise 2.0. Oh God, I'm blanking on her name.
Strong Arm.
Strong Arm. I think repainted would make a great looking Smallfoot, and be far enough away from the basic head and character likeness, but still capture the look of the character. Be a great. I was hoping we would see her in a BotCon set at some point, but yeah, that's why you don't see a lot of. That's why, for example, we've all seen that Kit Bash GoBot BotCon set that's been floating around the internet for several years from existing toys. That's why you won't really see that, because Bandai owns the right to the character likenesses, but not the names. If you remember a couple of years ago in Universe 1.0, when Machine Robo Rescue was starting out in Japan with their combining robots, which was sort of a throwback to Machine Robo, in Machine Robo Rescue. That's why you had the trademarked Machine Rescue on that one Transformer, because they trademarked the name to try to keep them from bringing Machine Robo Rescue over. So, that was a whole line of figures we could have gotten, but we didn't.
For the listeners, I've increased the audio input, so hopefully the low mic thing is evened out a little bit more. Hopefully you can hear Dawn and everybody a little bit better. So let me know if that's any better. I've increased it at a couple decibels, so hopefully. Now there's another question on here. Blade Raider asked about what about other transforming.
Hey, Blade. I know Blade very well. He's a great guy.
He asked about what about other transforming toys, like McChangeables and the like. That sounds like something right down Brett's alley.
I know, right?
That third party, I don't know. Going after Hasbro's the card is one thing. Going after McDonald's, I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Well, we did have that. We had one official figure from a McDonald's toy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the yellow agent Unit 3. Yeah.
Yeah. From the last box.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to knock it too much because my girlfriend, a good portion of her collection is McDonald Transformers. So,
there's some interesting ideas in there. You laugh, but
well,
I love the hotcakes one.
Well, those RID 2.0 ones that came out here last year sometime. Some of those, even though they didn't transform, they were neat little toys.
Yeah,
I've got one around here somewhere.
It just kills me though, because you think about it. You got the ones that came out closer to G2, where they're all like dinosaurs or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you think about the original ones. It's like, okay, are you a McDonald's G1er or G2er?
Well, I think if you're collecting McDonald's Happy Meal toys, that's probably its own. So I doubt there's a lot of subsets of those, because if you just wanted all the girls or all the boys, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think I would like to see a couple of third-party versions of the McDonald's Happy Meal thing. I thought that'd be kind of neat. Like a little 6-pack for like $30 or $40 you can buy. And they got elbows and everything now.
Let's see here. I don't know. Other third part. Oh, I've actually got something else that I'm a huge fan of, and I don't know if you guys know these. Know of these. Let me grab one real quick. These are.
I want a third-party toy of Massey, so it'll probably fall off the shelf and hit me on the head or something.
I saw somebody post a thing on Facebook, and you can actually get a stuffed animal.
That would be too creepy. That would be.
They have it. I think I shared it on Facebook.
Oops.
That didn't sound.
If it wasn't me falling over something.
No.
I didn't do it.
I have some acrylic risers I had sitting over here, and I accidentally knocked a couple over. There was nothing on them, but
Yeah, we heard that.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen these, but these are Dia Robo from Gotsma. They're Japanese. They're
I want to see your picture.
the YouTube videos. Let me.
It's showing it. It's just we can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, I eliminated my video from the Skype call to increase bandwidth. Just kind of taking a page there that you suggested. But yeah, the YouTube video viewers can see these. These are Dia Robo. They're roughly GoBot / Matchbox car size, and they're about as complex as GoBots. But they are super awesome. And not very expensive. Last time I checked, the smaller ones are about $7.50, depending on which figure. There's some of them that goes as high as $20. I know this one right here is it turns into a Hino box truck. and it turns out, its alternate form is a Brachiosaurus, and I absolutely love these things. I think this one here runs about 25 to 30, but they're all licensed and scaled vehicles. I'm a big fan of those. Good question. Keep them rolling, guys. We want to hear more questions, more suggestions.
Well, here's something I would like to see, and I brought this up in the pre-show. One of my favorite shows when I was younger. This is now again me being younger. It's going to be 14, 15, 16 in the mid 80s. Was a little show called Mighty Orbots, which was a TMS production, if I'm not mistaken. Which we all know TMS does really good animation, such as we call the Primitives. I've always wanted. Since third party is taken off, I really would like to see someone do a Mighty Orbots set of figures. Kind of like what Giant was originally. You got 2 figures in a set. Instead of them being like really big, complex figures, sort of scale them down a little bit, make them a little simpler. Like say Mech Ideas Jumpstarters, something along those lines. And then so we can have a Mighty Orbots on the shelf. Because I don't think we're going to see a Sojigoku Mighty Orbots anytime soon. That's something I would like to see.
What about you, Brett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right now I've got the theme song to Mighty Orbots in my head for some reason.
There are worse things.
Mighty Orbots. Oh, wait, that's not it. We were just talking about those.
Actually, I think a real cool line that would be really interesting to see revisited would be Starcom. Because a lot of people don't look at Starcom that much, but you think about it, all the automated engineering when you just like did something that was, geared, loaded. A lot of that came from Diaclone toys. That's where a lot of that engineering came from.
Absolutely.
And I think it would be amazing to see that come back because considering all the crazy toy engineering we have now, who's to say they couldn't come up with some crazy cool mechs for those figures to be able to be put in? Because I remember when I was a kid, I had one of them that turned into like a 4-legged walker, but also had like a hovercraft mode. But it turned into like this cargo crate that you could put in the back of the large shovel. So that thing was awesome, and it was really cool to see that they were able to take like all this like crazy base engineering, turn it into like a cargo item that can be carried on a larger shuttle that literally just hit like one button and the whole thing would just like retract itself out and everything. It'd be really neat to see that kind of engineering come into some of the more modernized toy age.
Well, here's something that's a little out of left field. I just thought of this. As far as other things we would like to see, made into robots or looking at it, how about the vehicles from Jason the Wheeled Warriors?
Oh my God, yes, please.
Given accurate vehicle modes, but also given robot modes as well. Because those are some of the most incredible, both the Monster Minds and the Lightning League, both sides get some vehicles from each one, but they're given robot modes.
Well, they did.
To me, that would be so cool because either mode, you could have them in vehicle mode as Jason the Wheeled Warrior characters, or you could have them in robot mode as well.
Well, they did have the larger 4-legged walkers that were automated with the battery power.
I never
it'd be
got
cool.
those.
I had the Monster Minds one. I didn't have the other one, and a friend of mine actually had their large base, so I had a chance to actually play with almost the whole line. And honestly, it's a very underrated toy line, and I think you're onto something. I think it'd be really cool to see them take that kind of engineering, maybe even with that, Starcom engineering and stuff, to make things be automated on it. So maybe it actually walks by themselves, like after they were,
as long as it's not like Armada Prime's base. Let's not go that route again.
No, that Armada Prime's base was not that.
So
y'all remember when that came out though? We thought it was the most incredible thing.
I didn't. I loved the cab, but I could not stand the trailer. I wanted to punt the trailer across the room. I hated that thing. Now, another line that I would love to see brought back in some capacity, i.e., rebooted or third party treatment. And then we have gotten some third party treatment of this line or this series, but and I think Dawn kind of knows where I'm going with this, but Brave. I want to see Brave reborn. I mean, there's just so much gold there. I don't know if a lot of people might have seen our Brave episode from a couple years ago. If you haven't, go back on our TFYLP YouTube channel after the videos, after this one's over, and check out the Brave episodes. We talk about them in depth. If you don't know much about Brave, we probably have the definitive Brave guide here on YouTube. It's a 2-part episode of TFYLP. Just go back and look for it or search for it. It's great, but I would love to see Brave.
And the short version is basically after Transformers was done in Japan, Takara moved on to the Brave series, which is 9 shows. They're not interconnected. Each one ran a year and had its own toy line. There was different themes, different characters. So it was like Power Rangers in the fact that you've got a new team every season. There wasn't that continuity carried forward, but you got some really great Takara designs that we never saw in Transformers. And there's a lot of toys nowadays. I bought Sentinel Prime from Titan's Return because the orange color reminds me of a Brave toy or two. The train mode reminds me of part of Dagon X, his pants part. So I mean, and I always thought that Combiner Wars Magnus, you could redo that. I'm still a little shocked in Japan they didn't re-release him as X Kaiser. Have the Alpha Trion card be Kaiser, and then redo the Ultra Magnus as the trailer. And it just seemed to me that would have been a perfect Brave homage right there.
You know, another one I would love to see get a third party redo. One of the Braves is Dino Geist. That is probably one of my favorite toys of all time. I mean, it's just got so much cool about it. I mean, if you like the G1 Triple Changer Horrorcon Snapdragon, you will absolutely love Dino Geist.
Yeah, he's just also he's kind of like Overlord, but not quite as bad as far as well, he's a lot harder to find than you could probably find an Overlord in decent shape easier than you could find a Dino Geist in decent shape. He's not going to be as expensive. You wouldn't say he would be as expensive as Overlord.
No, mine is in okay shape, but I gave about $250 for mine.
Yeah.
Hold on, just a second.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that that would be definitely one I think would benefit from a new version.
That would be this guy right here. I know you guys, if you were watching the YouTube video, you're seeing Dino Geist in package right here. And yeah, he's phenomenal. On the back of the package, you've got him in robot mode, in beast mode, and jet mode. And if you're listening to the audio version, I guess the best way to describe him is he's like, imagine a Voyager sized or leader class sized Snapdragon, very stylized, and that's my best description. I mean, he's got a really cool stealth jet mode, or a SR-71 Blackbird type mode, very stylized, and then his beast mode is kind of some kind of T-Rex with horns on it, and then his robot mode, he's got double horns. I guess is the best way to describe him. He's a phenomenal toy, but I'd love to see him fully articulated. That would just be amazing.
I would like to see one of my favorite, probably of all the Brave series. My favorite series is Dag One. As much much as I love Galgagar, the mecha from Dagwan, I think, are some of the best mecha out there. And Liner Dagwan is made. It's very hard to get a three robot combiner. It's kind of hard to look good. In Transformers, there wasn't that many, but I think we've all talked about how good JRX looked. In the Brave series, the Liner Dagwan was made originally of 3 trains. I would like to see a new combiner from him, and then we would get the 4th train, which of course would be in typical Japanese fashion. He's the power-up one, the feet, the extra armor, the giant shoulder cannon. You know how that works. But I would love to see some, like you said, some upgraded new third-party Brave stuff. I asked at BotCon several years ago when one of the Takara representatives was there, if we could see more. It was to a translator. If we could see more Brave homages in Transformers, and the reply was basically they still love Brave, but the concept and the looks and stuff was kind of sort of very 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really hard to convert that to a modern aesthetic, which I can.
I would almost disagree. I think that's kind of a cop out because, I mean, we're talking about Transformers, and a lot of their concepts are very 80s. So why is very 90s such a bad thing?
Again, this was at least 5, maybe even 10 years ago. This was in the early to mid 2000s. So, with the technology, the way that it's progressed since then, yeah, they can probably do it a lot better.
Well,
because again, they're building multiple characters in the mold.
Well, that and I mean, you got to think of the mindset now. I mean, heck, we got 1987 and 2016, and it's the thinking. I think in the last couple years has really shifted toward bringing back some of the classic characters and reliving what. Not just in Transformers, but in other lines too. I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a good example. Just bringing back old concepts and old characters and old designs and giving them new life. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of the toy companies are saying, hey, maybe these collector people that's been begging for this crap for years and years and years are onto something. I don't know if it's the fact that they're just listening to us or that they're out of ideas and they're dipping back into that well of let's find something that we had once before and maybe make something new out of it. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving it.
We brought this up several weeks ago, and Plasticon was with me on this about if you want some new ideas that are old ideas, all the Euro G1, G2 stuff is, if we have to, from third parties. Light Formers, Tracons, Thunderclash, the Jets, every Skyquake, because those toys are not, those molds, if they still exist, are not going to be viable for long.
And if they're not around, I mean, they can easily, if anybody's been following me on all my stuff, I actually have a G2 Facebook as well. I have actually made from the hotspot mold. I took the hotspot mold and made Pyro out of hotspot, and out of the onslaught mold, I made Clinch. It's a simple repaint, and it would have worked perfect, which is something that most people don't think about. And it's like these toys they came out with Combiner Wars are simple repaints that they could easily do to still dip into the G2 market, which we're talking about with like the Tracons and stuff. Think about it. We have a Humvee-like thing, which was Hound and Swindle, that could easily been turned into Iron Fist. There's no reason.
I kind of lament the fact that there's nobody like the club to jump in and do these kind of repaints like you're talking about there, Plasticon. That somebody needs to jump in and say, hey, Hasbro, we want to release these certain characters or these certain types of characters. that may not sell well in a mass release type deal, but maybe as an exclusive they might do all right. You know, have the clinches and things of that nature.
I mean, it's like party's already stepping in and giving us a masterpiece version of Laser Prime.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So give us masterpiece laser rods to go with that Laser Prime. You see what I'm getting at?
I'd be on board with that.
I know people would be. There's a lot of, like, I mean, even the Rotor Force, a lot of those guys get overlooked. There are some really good figures and names that were in G2 that get completely overlooked. And guess what? Those molds have never seen another release ever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I brought this up with BotCon, and again, growing up with G1, articulation and all that doesn't mean as much to me as it does to some of the younger people coming in after Beast Wars, with or after Beast Wars, when articulation became so much more prevalent. And I was asking BotCon, I talked to Brian Savage several times, just to say, look, can you get with Hasbro? And if the European mold still exists and it's financially profitable and viable, can we get some of these molds, these toys as they are, back out into the world, just so everybody can get a chance to get a hold of them before these things just crumble and cannot be made anymore, unless you go back and make a whole new tooling. And it's always a matter of economics, of, you know, short production runs, finding a way to sell them, which I understand. It's just, I just hate seeing such classic stuff not being available. And while a third-party representation would be great, and it might be the only way of doing it, I still would love to see the original molds relaunched in some fashion. But again, that's based on, you know, people want articulation more than what the toys have or things like that.
Well, I mean, the argument there would be, and I know some people would probably agree, and, you know, I agree with Don on this, but the argument in turn would be the cost efficiency of getting out the molds and all this such. And think about it, when they made that Platinum Edition version of Astro Train and Blitzwing that came out in the weird colors, which, as far as I'm concerned, those are Generation 2. They'll sit on my G2 shelf because those look too G2 to not be. The fact is, I don't know how well they sold. And you got to think about all the reissue stuff that's come out in the past. Yeah, those right there would probably fly off the shelf pretty quick to high-end collectors that want a mint condition one, or B, guys that never got one. And after that, there wouldn't be a demand for it. It would literally tank. That's the only argument I can see there, because I don't know how well that Platinum Edition even sold. You guys even know at all?
Mm-mm.
Which Platinum one?
That's the Blitzwing and Astro Train combo that came out that was in the odd colors.
I don't think it sold very well. I mean, you can still get them on Amazon rather cheaply.
Yeah, I purchased mine. I got mine actually at a convention. I thought it was really cool. I enjoy it. It's a great set. I did reviews of it. Everybody can go back. They can actually go see my crazy G2 commercial I made of them. But the fact of the matter is, those are awesome. If you've never had them in pristine condition, there's certain locking tabs that if you get a hold of an old one, you're never going to feel in an old one that you'll feel in that new set.
Mm-hmm.
That most people don't even realize that certain things lock.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a set you were talking about, because you did call it Safety Astro Train.
Yeah, Safety Astro Train.
All right, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. Michael Lee asked, do you have the 30th anniversary Blu-ray, I'm assuming, of the Transformers movie that came out this past week? I placed my order yesterday? No, day before yesterday, I think. I came home and this tells you how busy my week was. I had totally forgot that it got released the other day. I've just been so busy I didn't even realize it, and then whenever I did, I'm like, I need to order this. So I went on Amazon and got it placed. So hopefully it'll be here in the next day or so. Emmett Stresovich, he says, what'd you think of the extra content? For example, Till All Are One. He thought it was pretty good. What do you guys think of it?
I do not have a copy yet, so I'm going to get one is just I have to work some dynamic magic.
Dononomics.
I've got to work some magic on that just because I've got some other responsible adult things to pay for. Don't say it, Brett. Don't say it.
Cat litter.
I figured it'd be worse than that.
I pre-ordered mine. Actually pre-ordered it because I didn't want to pay no $30 for it, so I got mine for $20 off of Walmart.com. And it's the first time I ever ordered from Walmart.com, and probably I doubt I'll order again from there. But I haven't gotten a chance to actually watch it yet. But I had to get it because $20. I mean, how are you going to pass that up?
I mean, I can't wait. I mean, I've got probably 2 or 3 different versions of the movie on DVD, but having it on Blu-ray, seeing it remastered, new special features, I've got to have it. You know, being a G1 fan, I would feel remiss if I didn't get it.
Do you have it on VHS?
Yes.
Probably somewhere that, or at least at one time I know I did, but right now I don't.
VHS, I've got the DVD, and I've got that one. So
I have an old VHS VCR just laying over here in the corner. It may still work.
I got a question. Does anybody know if it was ever released on Laserdisc?
I believe so.
Was it?
Well, actually, this came up on RFC the other night. Brian found a copy on Beta. On eBay.
Matter of fact, the very first time I ever saw the movie in any form was on Beta. Although the tape that I watched was very badly, I guess whoever had rented it before ruined it because they might have watched it too many times. Because by the time I got to it, it was so badly choppy. I didn't get the gist of the whole movie. I would get a few scenes here and a few scenes there, and then it would go, you know. So I had to wait till it came out on TV, broke up into 5 parts before I actually saw it in its entirety. But yeah, the very first time I ever saw the movie was on Beta. And yeah, those are memories there.
I'm definitely going to have to chase down a Beta one now that you told me that.
Yeah.
And like I said, if anybody out there knows if it came out on Laserdisc or...
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, I would like to get a copy of that on Laserdisc if you guys know where.
Because I think the Laserdisc cover. Now I may be wrong because I'm old and I forget things, but I think the Laserdisc cover was the same almost as the Scotty Brothers white background album.
I believe so.
That was basically they used the same thing for the record at the time the cassette tape, the vinyl record, because I bought the vinyl record in a $2 bin at my comic book shop at Wilmington when I was at the college. The cassette tape, and I swear I would bet money that the Laserdisc used the same cover, the same base cover image.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way they did it because back then it probably cost more
Okay.
to redesign a just to reuse something that was actually in existence.
According to this, it did come out on Laserdisc in Japan. It had Dolby Surround, Dolby Digital Surround. It was available in English and Japanese, but it was released in Japan. Release date was 12/16/1989. I've even got the UPC code here for it and everything. So yeah, I mean it's Laserdisc Database has actually got it up here. I don't know if you can order it on here, but you might be able to.
Cheaper than the Dagwan Laserdisc.
I don't see any prices. Oh wait. Apparently, yeah, Shops says 1 copy available. Mint copy is okay. Mint, there's 5 different prices here. It ranges from $150 to $247. So yeah.
That's actually less than I was kind of expecting it to be.
A used copy is $150. But yeah.
Interesting.
It was on Laserdisc actually.
Cool. The more you know.
Now, Brett, do you know if Transformers the movie was released on stone tablets or not?
No, I would have to defer to Don for that.
Well, I was too busy. I was too busy.
I was much too young at that time, and he was, in his prime. So, the point of praise.
Chris Doherty asks, what are your favorite 70s and 80s non-Transformers lines, such as G.I. Joe, Silverhawks, Masters of the Universe, Mego, Star Wars, Universal Monsters, Ghostbusters, etc.? Brett.
Well, I actually was going to jump back to what he said before, and he said that he had love for Bandai's Soul of Chogokin.
Yes.
I was sitting there pondering the question about what I would like to see third party, and then I thought, well, I love that line, and Bandai has done it justice, so I'm covered there. And then I thought, well, I love GI Joe. Maybe I'd like to see a nice, revamp of GI Joe, and the 25th line has done that well. Then I thought about Macross, Robotech, which is absolutely one of my favorites. I actually love it more than Transformers. And Yamato has done that phenomenal. I only wish they had gotten rid of their 148 scale, which was just, you're talking about masterpiece plus. So, to answer the first question, as far as what I'd like to see, they've all been done. I've been taken care of very well. All of them have been done very nicely. Which leads into his question: what other lines do I like? And I'm going to add to that Mego. I love Mego. It was actually one of the first things when I was a kid I started playing with. Don had his stone tablet. I had Mego. So there you go.
Don had his click wheel.
I had dirt. I didn't have those stone tablets.
Wait, you were the guy that did the stick in the wheel, right?
Yeah, the click wheel. Yeah, he had his click wheel, and he had his yo-yo, and
We were so poor. I had to imagine the stick and the wheel.
Real quick, I do want to say one thing, only because it just popped up. We had another listener asked if anyone liked Star Blazers or Space Battleship Yamato. No, wait a minute.
Yes.
When I was growing up, you would run home from school to watch cartoons. Cartoons were about a half hour to an hour after school. And you had Transformers, G.I. Joe, this, and the other. Well, the thing that hooked me was Macross, Robotech. Because it was. Even my dad looked at it, and he was just like, it's like a daggone soap opera. And it really was. It was a soap opera for kids. But Star Blazers was phenomenal. You talk about an intricate storyline. It was just great. So yes, Star Blazers. Love it.
I don't recall ever hearing of Star Blazers.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Don, when you get back, we both have to slap her on.
I'm sorry. There's this line in 1984 called Transformers that captivated me so much that I didn't pay attention to other garbage.
He said he didn't know what Star Blazers was.
And I'm going to show you what Star Blazers is.
Well, that thing's badass. That's awesome.
Well, for the listeners and for those who don't know, we had mentioned a few minutes ago. You did, Brett, Soul Chogokin, which is Bandai's high-end collector line.
Very nice. Very
nice. Famous spaceships, robots from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's their high-end collector line. What you're seeing here, if you have the video, is the Soul Chogokin Space Battleship Yamato, or if from the way that I learned about it, the Argo from Star Blazers. This is this is the fundamental anime that got me onto a lifetime of loving anime and animation. It was Star Blazers. That was the linchpin show.
Now it came out before Macross switched over to Robotech came out in the U.S. I thought Star Blazers was first.
It was Star
Blazers
Blazers.
It was one of those where you were used to. Pardon the language for the reference. You had Tom and Jerry. You had these kiddie cartoons, and that's what you were used to on for your cartoons for your kids. This show came out, and it gave substance. It gave, not only did you need to know what happened at this show, you had to remember what happened in the last show, because it was a storyline. It was a very intricate storyline. It was a great, and it had great battle sequences,
and at the end, as far as Star Blazers, and both Star Blazers and Yamato, the Earth is dying, and they tell you at the end of every episode how many days are left before the Earth completely dies, and they left that in because that was the stakes. They had to go 175,000 light years back to get a machine that would cure the planet of basically radiation poison.
Yeah.
And they actually rebuilt the Yamato, bottom of the sea, to travel with this machine, and it's just an amazing. I can't tell you. I can't say literally I cannot quantify the impact that Star Blazers had on my life.
Well, Techatron here says Star Blazers came on in the late 70s. That makes me think. I'm trying to think back. What was the very first? And I'm not talking like Brett was saying. Tom and Jerry and stuff like that. I'm trying to think what the first anime or cartoon that I ever recall seeing. Watching that I remember watching on a regular basis. I'm wanting to say it was Robotech.
Well, before that, and it would have been before Star Blazers went into syndication. They did and God, if you can remember, they did this cartoon, and it would switch off, and you would get either Mazinger, you would get Tranzor Z. You would get every week it was something different. It was a different Japanese animation, and that's where I got hooked on. All those, all the Shogun Warriors, all the different ones.
Yeah,
it was a cartoon that came out. It was very bland, but it had different. You didn't get the same show every week. It was always different.
I remember what you're talking about, Brett, but I cannot remember.
I'm trying to remember all the ones that they had.
It was amazing. That's for sure. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was neat. But the storyline never stayed the same. Like I said, Star Blazers was the first one where it was in sequence, and he's right. It even had a countdown, so you knew. Hey, I got so many. It was in progression.
Yeah, and there was some epic. I mean, again, by today's standards, so many younger animation fans don't go back to this era because the animation is not what they want it to be. I mean, again, different times, different ways of doing things, and it's like Transformers and articulation. Some of the newer fans don't look at the stuff we had growing up as being that great because of the lack of articulation. It's all based on your age and perspective. But if you can get past the bell bottoms and the animation, to a degree, there is so much heart and drama and just really great battles.
Well, in my opinion, and if I remember correctly, there were a lot of the writers that were on Star Blazers that went on to write and did the Macross side, which, if anyone knows, got butchered into the 3-part Robotech series.
Can we not use Butcher?
Mm.
Can we find a slightly better name? I mean, I understand. I know a lot was lost, but Robotech,
so
Robotech
three specific stories, and you mangle them into one storyline.
Massaged.
I love
Massage.
the series. Don't get me wrong. When I was growing up, it was the definitive. But when I went back and saw the lost, quote unquote, lost episodes to where everything was separate,
it's definitely, but
it definitely loses something in the translation.
But I think, and I'm not going to get into a big discussion. This is for boards to discuss. But I think without Robotech and the epic scope that they did to create it, we wouldn't be where we are now with animation in the U.S.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
I mean,
As
for
I said,
those people who don't know,
but they took 3 separate storylines and they put them into one storyline. It's as simple as that.
It's kind of like if for those of you who need a more current example, it's like making Cybertron fit into Armada and Energon as a 3-part trilogy.
Right. It would have to be in sequence.
Yeah.
It would have to be in order to make sense, and I don't know if you could do it, but that's what they did. At the time, I guess I was
30.
9, 10.
He was 30.
Great. So, sounds great. No, Don, you were close.
Actually, he's not far off because I was actually about 15.
When did that come out? It was in the early 80s, right?
Yeah, I was born in 70s.
Well,
I
I was
like,
sitting here trying to think about, because he said it came out in the 70s, Star Blazers, and I kept thinking, yeah, I was probably about 6 or 7. And then I remember in elementary school, you would run home to watch, like I said, Transor Z, Mazinger, Grandizer, all that stuff, and we used to play that in the playground and everything. So, and then after that came Robotech. So would have been the early. Actually, I guess it would be the late 70s, early 80s for Robotech. Probably 79, 80.
No, I can't remember. I remember Star Blazers came on alongside Speed Racer.
I remember Speed Racer too.
And I remember Robotech came out several years after Speed Racer, because I remember thinking, boy, this is a lot better. This looks a lot better.
Yeah, but I think Star Blazers came over in the mid 70s.
Yeah.
And then about 5 years later, you're looking at, like I said, 79, 80, early 80s. At least give me that, early 80s.
Yeah. For
Robotech. And then it was a good 3 to 4 years, I'd say at least 5 years later, is what Transformers came out in
84. Mm-hmm.
So, and believe it or not, the year before that, guess what came out?
Yeah, Blade Raider says.
GoBots came out in 83.
Blade Raider said Macross was made in 82.
There you go, early 80s. Well, no, that's Robotech. Was made in 82. Macross came out early.
But I think you have to agree Robotech has the better theme song, or at least the music. Anyway.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to remember in my head what Star Blazers was. Oh yeah. No. Star Blazers got it.
Okay. We're off to outer space.
Yes.
We're leaving Mother Earth to save. Okay, I'll stop singing.
Everyone's looking at you, but I'm telling you that had a really, really neat theme song. Gotta Google it. Google it. Find it.
All right. Now, okay, want to change gears again. This is a relatively recent topic, and we delved into it last week on last week's episode 216. Still a lot of people talking about it. Been thinking about it an awful lot. Last week we had our girlfriends, wives on the show talking about what it's like to interact with us and everything. I'm wondering, any of you listeners, whether you're listening to it live or watching it or listening to it or watching it later on, what did you guys think about what did you guys think about the episode? Did you watch it or listen to it with your significant other, and what did they think? My girlfriend, she suggested the episode. I'm going to give credit where it's credit is due, and she had an absolute blast doing that episode. I think we need to do more of that. What do you guys think?
Well, I was approached at the Columbus Toy Show by one of our listeners and told that it was just great. They loved it. Went on and on about it, just how no one else had even thought about doing that from the perspective of the significant others. And that's when I told him, I said, well, it was Ron's girlfriend that came up with the idea. And we just went with it. And it turned out to be a great show.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we want to try to do here on TFYLP is kind of think outside the box for the podcast realm of Transformers. We're all in this hobby together. We all do this thing called Transformers, but stopping and thinking about how it affects people around us, our loved ones, our wives, our friends. Sometimes it's just, not something we consider. And, we want to think about that. We want to think about, like what we're talking about tonight. A lot of you listeners have suggested, what do you like outside of Transformers? We're not just Transformer fans. What else do you like? I've said tonight, I'm a Star Trek fan. I love Brave. I have resisted so hard getting back on that Brave train because it's so expensive. Yeah. You saw what I did there, didn't you? Yeah. But, I mean, there's just so much out there. The Dia-Robo. And a lot of it is because they're transforming robots. I'm a fan of transforming robots. Brett's got a phaser there. I'm sure he shoots people with that on a regular basis. And especially, oh no, I'm wearing a red shirt.
I do. There is a really obscure toy line that a lot of people probably completely forgot about. Any of you guys remember Computer Warriors?
Yes. Oh,
Computer Warriors.
I am literally missing one thing from the Computer Warriors line, and that's the calculator turns into a tank. I've got even the computer that actually turns into a big battle piece. It's like that line is very.
Finding that complete is almost like getting the complete Terror Drone.
Mine's missing a couple bits, but I will end up eventually completing it. And I personally think that's probably one of the most overlooked toy lines that has ever been used. Honestly.
Well, we're talking about toy lines that we want to see come back. I would like to see, and I don't know how it could. I've actually tweeted this to Playmates directly. I've never got a response back, and I know they probably don't respond back to ideas. They get 10,000 a day probably.
Mostly from crazy old men.
Probably. But my idea was fairly sane though. I want to see them bring Exo Squad back. Exo Squad was an absolutely phenomenal toy line. And later on in the series, Brett, if you remember, the BattleTech and Mech Warrior stuff, which is that's kind of crazy at that point.
They just gave him an excuse to reuse the old Robotech molds.
Yeah, but that's what I like to see some third parties do if Playmates can't or are unable to bring Exo Squad back, because the show was ahead of its time. It dealt with mature themes. It was a war that neither side was right, neither side was wrong. Both were at fault for the situation going out of hand. But of course, you had Phaeton who pushed everything over the edge. But you had great exosuit designs. You had some great Resolute, the carrier they launched from, was a great design.
What the hell was that?
You know what that is?
Kyle's doing his.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Oh, Movie 2 Communicator, the box.
Love this thing.
So that's what I would like to see is, and if third parties could start, I know there's some people out there doing similar things, but they're not quite Exo Squad-ish enough for me. But that's something I like to see. I know a lot of the big names in the Transformer fandom also do like Glyos and things like that. If they could do something along those lines, like smaller but detailed exosuits, that'd be kind of nice. And I got to put this guy back on the stand because I can't keep holding him because there's parts on the bottom. I lay it down, they'll break. So I'll be right back.
Don, quit playing with your Yamada. Put it up. You'll go flying.
I have to, or the motion gun will go off.
Is that what it is? Quit playing with it, or it'll go off.
Techatron actually said here a while ago there's a pretty good live action movie for Space Battleship Yamato as well that came out in Japan a few years ago, and he has an English dub of it.
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
I heard about that, but I didn't have the chance to see that. Do you guys remember another really odd line that was called Megaforce?
Vaguely.
They were about the size of like the Micro Machines and stuff.
Machines, yeah.
Yeah, that line. I actually have the entire line. I love those things. Those things are awesome, and I would love to see like that revisited because I think they were really onto like some cool gimmicks with like the sledgehammer, which was this gigantic transport tank that you parked all your tanks on that had a working elevator on the back, and you'd hit a button on the side, and it had these gigantic arms that would like spin in a circle just to like knock forces out of the way. It was just like really interesting designs like that throughout the entire line that was just really cool. I would love to see something like that because that was fun. Especially all the crazy engineering. I don't know, just think about how phenomenal some of this stuff.
I had a thought, and it totally escaped me.
It was fleeting.
Yes, it was a fleeting thought.
It's cool.
His after train of thought derailed.
Yes, transformed and flew into outer space. Okay, I think I'm going to ask a general question here, and I think we'll wrap this episode up after that. What is the rarest toy that you own? It doesn't have to be a Transformer, but what is the rarest toy that you own? Right off the top of your head. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. You could forget about something, but I'm just curious, what is the rarest toy that you own?
I guess for me, outside of perhaps Blackfire Convoy and Grand Maximus, which are not really rare, but they are up there, and as far as you just don't see them every day. Probably my rarest toys is I have a set of Digimon toys from Tamers and Frontier that only really showed up at KB Toys, and if y'all remember KB, and I've got like Chaos Gallantmon for those of you that know about Digimon, and a couple other sets, and those are some of what I've been told are some of the rarest Digimon figures to find, and I've got some of those.
What about you, Plasticon?
I'm trying to think because I've got a lot of rare stuff I used to have. Some Japanese stuff.
You have to have it now. Let's have that.
I'm
Yeah.
just trying to think of what I have. Because, like I said, I dwindled down my collection pretty good. And to be honest, if you want to think about it, maybe the Computer Warrior stuff, because I actually do have that computer base, which is stupid to even find on eBay. You can't even find it.
Now, don't you have a couple of prototypes that you and Brett have a few of the same similar prototypes?
I don't actually have the prototypes that I've actually created my G2.
Okay, I thought you had a few actual
I
prototypes.
wished a lot of the ones I had were the actual authentic ones, but there are some that I recreated, like the Megatron and Starscream combo of the G2, where it was the big black jet, and with basically the Dreadwing mold. I did a kit bash custom of it, and they made it about as close as I could possibly make it to actually put it in the film. And it was not easy doing that because it was a lot of disassembly, reassembly, and a lot of paint mashing I had to do. Obviously, I can't do glow in the dark missiles. I don't know if I can probably mold them glow in the dark plastic. But that's literally about as close as I can mold it to make something that's extremely stupid rare that I actually created.
I think the rarest thing I have.
Max I made at one time.
I think the rarest thing I have is probably my BotCon 98, BotCon Japan 98 double punch. There was only 600 of them made. I have one of those. I have the BotCon Japan 2000 clear Car Brothers. I don't know if those be really that rare.
I don't know. I guess I could kind of think on my Spy Changer line, I actually had the Japanese version of the Spy Changers that came out. I don't have any of the lucky draws, but I got the ones that actually came out of the which are pretty hard to find.
Speaking of Spy Changers, I have an unpainted GoBot Rumble.
That's probably the rarest thing you've got, though.
Yeah.
You can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, I've got a unpainted one of those, and I have a pre-production Spy Changer Yellow Prime that is missing a lot of the paint apps that the regular one had. That the main release had. The main release had like black windows and everything. Mine has unpainted windows. The only thing that's painted on it is the light bar and the face. So, I have one of those. And probably Dino Geist is pretty darn hard to get a hold of too.
I mean, I did have a Grandis at that time. Proto-Man actually has my Grandis now.
But now I've got to ask Brett. Have you've had a few minutes to think here? What is the rarest thing you have that you can think of off the top of your head?
I have this pen that I got from the Hampton Hotel that I swiped, and it's really near and dear to my heart. Because I was just looking at it, and it reminded me of when I stole it. So I really like that.
Did you drive it when you stole it?
I stole it like I drive it. Yeah. All right. I've got a sealed Black Shadow. I have a sealed Death Star. A sealed Japanese Chrome Dome. Some sealed G1s, stuff like that. But I always go back to the same one, and that's that Primal Prime prototype in all black that my wife found.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing one too.
And the main reason is not because it's the most expensive or the hardest to find or whatever, because of the story. As I said before, if I sell everything, I'm keeping that, just because of the story. It's just too good. So that to me that's worth the most.
There was one.
That and my Pilfer thing.
There was one question that Paladin he asked on Twitter back before around the time that we started this episode. I don't want to go too long on this because we could drag this out into a long discussion, and I don't want to do that. But best and worst third-party combiner that's been released to date. Personally, I think the worst. There was a lot of good about it. I'm gonna have that caveat, but I wasn't a huge fan of Fans Project's Intimidator.
Well, I gotta do some research because you know me. The first thing is I can't remember the damn names of the things, so I gotta find the name of it.
And it was simply because of Diesel. Diesel made that toy not fun for me. I mean,
that totally killed any desire I had to separate them back into Thundercons.
yeah, and the whole idea of a toy is wanting to go and just get it and mess with it, and with Fans Project Intimidator, M3, the Menosaur, once I combined him together, I'm like, this thing is so damn complex. I am sick and tired of messing with this thing after one mess with, one playthrough. I just got tired of it, and I had it maybe 2 months and sold it. I'm like, if I'm never going to get it down, in those 2 months, once I put it on the shelf, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever transform that again. And I told myself, if I ever have a toy that I do not want to transform because it's just not fun, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree because that toy took all the fun. I mean, being Fans Project, you knew there'd be level of complexity,
but this was complicated even for Dan's project.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've got, and I can't, you know me, I can't remember the names of them. I got the Bruticus one, I got the Abominus one, I've got the Intimidator one, the Leo Kaiser one. And I'll be honest with you, once I put them in combined mode, I don't want to touch them. Any of them. Any of them. Because they're all too complex, in my opinion. Now, you know, you take the Hasbro Devastator, which is right up there with them, and I can take him out, transform him, put him back together all day long. So, I understand what you're saying, but I think that reasoning could go with almost all the combiners from third parties. They're very, very intricate, and they're hard to transform.
I don't find the Lyocauser bots that intricate. I mean, they're like over.
You got to get them just right to get them to stand, because the damn hips don't work real well.
I don't have them enough of them to combine them. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, since I really haven't gotten a chance to actually really mess with a lot of the third-party combiners themselves, honestly, the things that did turn me off is the complexity of how long it takes to transform one into a limb. And you do this how many times to a toy that's how expensive? God, you know, you're like biting your nails, hoping God you don't break it sometimes. Especially when I hear some of these guys transform them and they put them together and they squeak. I never had that issue with the Glacial Lord. I thought Glacial Lord was best.
Glacial Lord was
and I did sell it. I sold it to Don, and it's
Yeah,
probably one I would go back and chase down just because the simplicity of the toy. The toy was great. It was awesome. It was a chest combiner. I mean, you had little bitty guys that combined into these animals. These animals combined into a larger robot. It was just, to me, I think it was the best way of doing it because you didn't even have to take the little guys and put them out separate. You left them inside the vehicles. And to me, that was probably the best way of approaching it. Yes, it's very G1 and blocky, and some people didn't like that. But I hate to break it to you. Articulation comes with a price. And the price is, how long is this thing going to stand on your shelf before it decides to bump? And a lot of these guys have had to have parts sent to them.
Did you, can you see the screen share?
Yeah, that's Hegemon.
Yeah.
To me, this is the worst damn piece of crap I've ever owned in my life.
I disagree.
I can't stand that thing.
Did you guys
I could not get rid of that fast enough.
Well, Brett, I got one that'll beat that. I got Sonicron.
Sonicron. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm with
Oh,
Don.
yeah.
I had that
I
piece of
forgot about that. I own that thing too. The camp.
Yeah, I got it. I thought it can't be as bad as every. Yes, it is.
it is.
With all due respect,
Yes, you're correct. That was worse. That was worse.
That, well, put it this way, Sonicron was the very first third-party one I purchased. I also purchased the cassette tapes to go with it, and I was highly disappointed, and it turned me off a third-party almost completely, except for getting upgrade kits.
yeah,
No,
I was lucky.
This is called Hegemon.
Hegemon.
This was the main reason I couldn't stand it. Is that not the piss poor excuse for a daggone gun you've ever seen in your life? That thing is horrible.
I didn't mind it.
Oh, it was horrible.
It looks like a little kid's gun.
It's a piece of crap.
I mean, the
But
barrels.
again, that's what 4 years old now, 3 years old now.
At least 4.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people out there who still have that as their masterpiece, Megatron. So they have that.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people have crabs too. They just don't go to the doctor.
That's very true.
What's your
But
point?
the point is that thing. I was never appealed by any of those. I always thought they were garbage. I liked official product, but when a third party decides to step in, sometimes they do it better. Sometimes they screw it up. Take the what was it, the Energon Bruticus that came out, and then you had the couple guys that came out to make him better. That was a perfect upgrade kit. It fixed all
And
the
he
problems.
still looks good.
Made it look good, and it made it look amazing. But then everybody thought, oh well, we'll just build our own combiners, and they're great. But how often do they like
Well,
it's the Bruticus that came out? Well, it was the who was it? Vance Project that made that Bruticus, the big
Yes.
one that had all the squeaking joint. I mean, it was huge. The Warbotron, and everybody complained about it. Everybody complained about Onslaught, all these problems that it had. And it's like,
I
how
think
much
you're
money did
confused.
you guys pay for this?
Well,
I
actually,
think
Brett, not,
you're confused. That one, I still have that one. A lot of people still have that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
So far, that is still the definitive Bruticus.
well, see, I've got
but there's a
it
lot
too,
of
Brett,
people have
but
problems with squeaky joints on it.
mine did. So I still have him. Brett. But yeah, Fierce Attack has had a lot of squeaky joint issues, but he does stand together pretty good.
I can take him off the shelf because I just did it. Set him on the ground and he stands straight up.
Oh, he
none
does.
of these other will do that, except for the Hasbro Devastator. You set them down, they start leaning, they wobble, they lean goofy.
My Hasbro Devastator only.
Right up.
I've had zero problems with my Hasbro Devastator. That
That's what I
thing
said.
has been solid.
That's what I said.
Well, as
Both
far
of those, but the others they don't stand.
well, Jordan, have you gone? Have you answered the question yet? 'Cause I have.
The worst one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Intimidator, Fans Project
Oh,
Intimidator.
okay. For me, believe it or not, I'm going to pick one that y'all haven't said. The best assembled, the best one that stands, is the Toy World Throttlebot Combiner that has the band name Throttle Kaiser 6. Because
They probably come up with a name for it.
no, that's just the unofficial name.
That's what I mean. Yes.
Yeah, but he's sturdy. They has some god awful heavy ratchets in the hips. Those big platform feet. He's probably one of the stablest combiners as far as not really worried about him leaning. It's just because you got so much weight, you kind of have to make sure when you pose him, the weight doesn't badly distribute. But it's going to be from just a bad choice of poses, not that the joints will hold. Because there is some heavy. When you move his feet ratchets, they don't click, they clunk. Honestly, they do. If I could dig him out, I would. But I think he's the best assembled combined figure. The worst, I hate to say this, since you've already said Intimidator, and I have not assembled Hades, so I do not know how Hades is with those hips, because I've heard the hips are sort of hit and miss.
The hips are the problem.
Yeah, Bobby Skullface said the same thing. But since I haven't assembled mine, I can't fairly judge that right now. And as much as I love the original Hercules, as much as I think that started for good or for ill, it was the best way to us to get a masterpiece Devastator at that time. And I still like my Hercules. I still like him for his aesthetic.
I like him too.
But he just is very hard to stand and pose.
Yeah, he doesn't pose very well at all.
Once you get him in a position, you kind of prop everyone around him to sort of keep him from falling down.
Well, he does best what he is designed for. He is designed to Hulk. And that's exactly what he does. He is a hulking beast. But because he is such a bulky guy, it's hard to pose him. I mean, you can lift his arms up and everything, he can point, but the moment you try to like make him step forward or something other, it's just his joints aren't strong enough to hold him for his weight, and he starts either doing the splits or something else, and that's disappointing. But he's still awesome for what he is.
And even he's been out again. Actually, he's been out longer than Hegemon. He's been
Gosh,
out
at least six years at least, I would say.
In toy technology time, that is a phenomenal length. And look at some of the figures we're getting now versus what we were getting then. Again, but I think for the time, if you look at him as he is against other things of his time, he was above and beyond some things at his time. But I wish he was just a little stronger to pose.
Yeah. Now, that being said, he's the only third-party combiner that I still have complete. No, I take that back. I have the Toy World Dinobot combiner.
I've heard not good things about him.
Individually, they're good.
Yeah.
They are very good figures individually. Combined, I hate the way the feet attach. They don't stay on. The wings on the back are horrible the way they attach.
Really?
Yeah, I hate the way they attach.
I've not had any problem with the feet, the combined, the wings, none of that.
I I don't know. I mean, he looks great, but the moment I would touch him, he'd just start falling apart.
Well, he'll topple.
Yeah, he is.
Very top heavy.
And you know, I was talking about Hercules being a hulking beast.
Right.
That thing is a monster.
Well, I will say one thing, and I have no idea where I got him from. There was, and I think it was Intimidator. Intimidator came with those little rubber feet.
Yeah.
Well, I actually still have like half of the stick left after I cut the little strips for his feet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's enough to use on another one. It's just 3M tape, I know, but if these companies would just a little bit of this goes a long way, you know.
Absolutely.
A little bit of this prevents the split.
Absolutely.
So, not a bad idea.
Any-
Let's sit here thinking about one other thing. When you're done, I do want to ask one other question, but go ahead.
no, I mean, I was about to ask what anybody else have anything to wrap up with.
I think if you give it six months. 6 months, and see if everyone's favorites and least favorites change. 6 months, because the reason I say that is we're coming up on all of a sudden 2 really quick possible Megatrons. It just seemed to me that there's always something better around the corner. So I'm kind of curious to see if everyone's views change more towards the flavor of the month.
Well,
Not trying to sour our opinion, but just kind of curious.
well, that's what I was going to ask real quick, is because a lot of people are talking about this. Despotron or Hedge. God, I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah.
The other name. Hedge. Not. Despotron and. Help me out here.
I'm trying to think.
I know, the other
There's
Megatron.
Mitron.
Mitron.
There's Apollyon, there's
Despotron and Mitron.
and then there's the possibility of an official.
Right. So, just in y'all's guys' quick opinion, because I'm actually I have a Apollyon that I got at TFCon Charlotte, TFCon St. Charles. I mean, I'm sorry, BotCon St. Charles. I still have not opened it yet. I just haven't got around to it. But of the Megatrons that are out now, which ones do y'all think y'all would go for?
Mitron. Not Mitron. The Despotron, the Makatoy one. I almost had one bought the other day. I had my finger hovering over the buy now button, and I'm like, I have been hearing rumors about an official Masterpiece Megatron, a new version coming out. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. The very next day, that prototype image popped up on online, and I'm like, I'm glad I waited, because that thing is gorgeous.
Something similar happened to Brian. You probably heard the story, Duran. Brian Kilby at BotCon a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He almost bought Japanese MP10 and went to the Hasbro panel where they revealed that we were getting Optimus over here in the U.S. at Toys R Us. So he was so close to buying that Optimus Prime from Japan for $200 some odd, and then he just said, "I'll wait till after."
Well, I literally, I mean, I had the money the other day, and I'm like, I want a new Masterpiece Megatron, and I really, really like the looks of that Despotron from Makatoy, and I'm like, I want it, and then I'm like, something tells me wait on that one, and I'm glad I did now. I mean, if the official turns out as good as that resin or that CAD image looks, then I'm going to be happy.
How about you guys? Official.
I've already got a Apollyon, but I'm going to wait for the official.
I'm more than likely going to opt out because I'm still waiting on a tank Megatron. Seriously, what's the point? Why can't they release him as a tank? That,
Well,
that
now we-
should happen.
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
tell
now
me
we-
they can't fit enough masterpiece engineering into a big chunk of it.
Well, now we are getting that Titan Return Megatron that will become the Blitzwing, so there is that it has a tank. Now it won't be the right colors though, unless they do a reissue or something down the road. But
We were
there is
expecting to do it this,
Which they could.
and they could have done that easily with the Combiner Wars one that came out, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
yeah. I still would have preferred seeing a G2 Megatron versus an Armada Megatron.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't happen, but yeah, I'm still a little bit about that.
First,
Well, I see the reason they did that, and that's to appeal to the kids whose G1 was Armada.
oh, I am so sorry, kids. I'm sorry. I am just so sorry.
They're out there.
I
They're
know
out
they
there.
are, It's just
And believe it or not, they're getting about to the age where they have disposable income.
so we're going to be seeing a lot more Armada-based toys probably
Yeah.
over the next.
If that doesn't make you feel old, and Dawn, I know you felt this way for a long, long time, and so have you, Brett. Then if that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will.
Well, now here's the good thing though. If we get some now, see, third parties are starting to do Beast Machine toys, which I think is great because I can ignore all of them. But that also means that if they start doing Armada toys, we might get some good versions where the Minicon doesn't ruin the toy
Mm-hmm.
in a third-party format.
Well, I'm waiting.
You've got the smelly bathroom face.
You can't polish a turd. It's still a turd.
Well, now there are some good Armada designs that if you
Tidal Wave.
if the Minicon did not ruin because of the gimmick or the built-in necessity, I think would have been better toys. Ironhide's not one of them, but that was Energon. Sorry, that's right off all of Energon.
Well,
The same to me.
if we can just get a third party to make a Supreme Class Cheetor, it would be all over now.
Yeah, because I would probably jump off a bridge because one of y'all would get it for Christmas. And as a preemptive note, any of you send me a Supreme Cheetor for Christmas, I will hunt you down. I will beat you to death with it.
Oh, you will love it.
Too late, John. Too late, Don. Too
You
late.
will love it.
It's like I
Too
said,
late.
somebody needs to send me 5 of those guys. So that way I can turn it into the 5 lion bots and send it to Dawn.
No. Plasticon. I will buy one and send it to you, and you need to G2ify it. Make it G2 Supreme Class Cheetor, and we will send it to Dawn.
No, you will
all
not
I'm
because
gonna
then
say-
I will have to kill you. Or
All I'm going to say is, for those listeners that do have access to it, they send it to me. I will make sure to ship it at my own cost to Dawn. I'll be more than happy.
all our fans, to all the fans.
Blade Raider just said, I know what I'm doing for Christmas.
And our listening audience can text me, message me, whatever. Tell me that you have one. I'll make plans to get it to me, and I will make sure Don gets it.
Okay, Blade. What did Blade say?
Blade Raider said, I know what I'm doing for Christmas.
Okay, Blade. I know where you live. Blade, I literally know where you live. So don't. Please, people.
I want to see Dawn on here someday with a big stack of boxes behind him that is nothing but Supreme Class Cheetor.
Guys, I'm serious. I am coming to you on slightly bended knee.
Please give him Supreme Class Cheetor.
Please do not waste your time and your money on Supreme Cheetors. Here's the thing. Take that money and donate it to your local animal shelter. If you want a Christmas gift to mean something, take that money, that $1.95, and take it and donate it to your local animal shelter.
Bonus points if it's still in the box and has a Walmart price tag.
That's not toys for.
I'm going to say it right now. Anyone that sends me a Supreme Cheetor, I go on record as saying that I will donate $5 to the animal shelter for every Supreme Cheetor sent to me for Dawn.
That's a great idea.
I agree.
That's a great idea.
I'll work on the banner.
It's for a good cause. People, Blade Raider is on eBay right now. He's looking for a Supreme Class Cheetor. There's five There is $5 for the for a yeah. See here, Techatron says all TFYLP listeners should each send on a Supreme Class Cheetor. Also, coordinate so they all get delivered on the same day.
I know what you're talking about. I want it all sent to me. I will send it in one big friggin' box.
A television box. It is like a big screen TV.
Don is going to Twitter. He is going to all the media outlets. Please don't send me Supreme Class Cheetor. We love you, Don.
If this is love, I'd hate to see hate.
Well, we haven't mentioned it yet, but we do have some sponsors. CapturePrey.com, great toys, great prices, great service. CapturePrey.com, where you can save even more on orders of $150 or more with free domestic shipping. CapturePrey.com for all your import and third-party Transformer needs. Also, Mega Toy Fan, maximize your collection while minimizing your costs with Mega Toy Fan. You can find them at your biggest robot and toy conventions year-round, such as TFCon USA coming up next month. I'll be there. I know Brett will be there because, well, he is Mega Toy Fan. I believe Sergio will be there, and several of us from the TFYLP cast will be there. We look forward to seeing you there. You guys have anything else that you want to mention before we go?
Yeah, one of our new sponsors is going to be Al's Discount Funeral Emporium and Car Wash, because I won't beat you all to death with them Supreme Cheetos.
That's okay. Just to let anyone that's going to be going to TFCon, make sure that if you're going to bring your donations, you can bring them to me and save these costs.
Yeah, and it is for a good cause.
No, you cannot bring Supreme Cheetos with you because that is carrying an illegal explosive. Because the thing just sort of blows up on its own, so you can't carry it on flights. So, there.
I'll say right now, I'll even rent another U-Haul on the way home if we get enough of them.
Yeah, and you know what? If you bring it to TFCon, and I don't know if Don will be there or not, but just to help Don so that he doesn't have to worry about carrying them back, we will offer free shipping to Don's house.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was going, I would be now. Okay, so, but I'm not. No, please, people, I'm serious. Do not do this.
I do want to stress that don't send any of these to Don. Send them to me.
Yeah.
I just want the look on his face when I send him this big old box. And yeah, I'll do it.
And we are going to have our Christmas episode this year, with the Secret Santa and everything, which we need to get the ball rolling on that, by the way.
If that happens, you guys are getting...
We're getting dick all, right?
So now we need to develop the 12 days of Supreme Cheetor dedicated
On the first day of Christmas, Headmaster Don got... Yeah. On the second day of Christmas, Don got 2 Supreme Cheetos.
Wouldn't it be funny if I got your name again this year?
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Matthew, we're going to live in a cave, okay? You don't care, dude. Okay.
That is hilarious. Let's see here.
And I was enjoying the show until you all went insane.
Oh, what you talking about? We're going to be giving you the ammo shelter. You're doing a great thing. You were helping to provide
it's a shame that they don't have cards at the Walmart that says, "I'm sorry you went insane," because you would all get one.
Well, I think that will do this week's episode of TFYLP. Oh wait! Blade Raider says idea. Wait until Don's birthday and give him a masterpiece Cheetor in a Beast Machine Supreme Class Cheetor colors.
I don't think it's
Somebody
gonna be
send
out
it
in
to me
time.
and I'll make it.
I don't think it's going to be out in time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
due out in
honestly,
January.
It doesn't come out to the next year, right?
Okay, so next year.
Hey, Blade,
Yeah.
I want you to listen carefully. I know where you live. I can be there in... I can be there in about 4 hours. So Don't.
That's an awful long way to drive to murder someone, Don. You know.
To not get a Supreme Cheetor, it's worth it.
Well, I know we've had some audio issues with this episode. Some people saying it's good, some people saying that you guys are low. I don't know how to fix that, but we're going to continue to work on. Well, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to look into it. This is a new setup that we're using. We're going to have some issues, but hopefully not as bad as we were having with Google Plus. I think the overall quality is a little bit better on this from what I saw that was going across YouTube on my end. So we are going to have some problems, and I do apologize for those. Just bear with us, and we're going to keep working on it. And this seemed to work out pretty well tonight. Yeah, and it's. I just don't want to go back to the same problem that we had a couple weeks ago when we had the guests on from Machinima, and everybody had to reboot their computers just to get their damn mics to work. And mine never did work that episode. That was so frustrating. And trying to get people into the Hangout and it telling us that, oh, wait, this person doesn't have permissions. Close your browser and reopen it. It's really frustrating, and Google has changed things yet again, and I'm done with them. But hopefully this is working out, and maybe we can tweak some more settings and get everything working top notch, and maybe eventually I can afford to get actual software that I can pay for that does this even better. But until then, I'm flat broke, and along with me has been Megamus. Headmaster Don, Plasticon, and remember $5 to the Humane Society. Was it Humane Society?
I think we're going to go with the animal shelter.
Oh, Animal Shelter for Supreme Class Cheetor. Send them to Brett. And Don's shaking his head no, but we're shaking our heads yes.
No. I really.
Care of Rodimus Primal. Care of Rodimus Primal on the package. We'll see you next time on TFYLP. This is Weird Wolf signing off.
Some of us may be, missing on a milk carton forever.
Haven't seen me.
Oh, I feel confident I'll be here.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.
Whoop, whoop.